Hello, Scottish Ravens. It's Gordon here. Going to give you my thoughts on the Ravens' 23-16 win over the Cleveland Browns. The first thing you have to say is, regardless of the performance, the Ravens started this season 1-5 and have now reeled off 4 straight wins to get back to 5-5, including 3 of those games coming on the road. So after a season that looked like it was going off the rails really quickly, they've managed to get themselves back to a position whereby they can really contend for the playoffs and contend in the AFC North. This game itself, very much a typical AFC North matchup. And as much as the Ravens were favoured by, I think, as much as 8.5 coming into this game, you're going on the road against a divisional opponent. And going on the road against a divisional opponent that has a player like Myles Garrett, who can just be incredibly impactful off the edge, and was very much in this game. It was a really tough game for the Ravens. The offensive line really struggled. Myles Garrett was able to do some big things up front for the Browns, particularly in the first half. You saw that key play where he tosses right tackle Roger Rosengarten aside and goes and makes the sack there. But the Ravens hung in. Defensively, really strong. They had some miscues early in the game. The muffed punt, the interception return for a touchdown. The defense held strong and didn't really give up much when the offense put them in tough positions, when special teams put them in tough positions. They hung around once they got into that second half. Really, the defense again stepped up and stifled the Browns. Browns were forced to go with Shedeur Sanders in the second half due to a concussion or a head injury for quarterback Dylan Gabriel. The Ravens defense really came on at that point. Kyle Hamilton had a huge play whereby he had a nice spin against the running back, sacks Shedeur Sanders, forces the fumble, although the Browns weren't able to recover it. As I said, defense kept them in the game, allowed the offense to keep chipping away, and the Ravens in the second half just started to chip away at the scoreboard. A couple of field goals, put themselves in a good spot. They get to the point where they have a tied game, and then the play of the game. As much as you want to malign offensive coordinator Todd Monken, I think you can have concerns about the Ravens' offensive play call, and the play that wins this game is the Ravens line up as if they're going for a tush-push with Mark Andrews lined up in the quarterback spot. Mark Andrews spins, takes the ball off tackle himself, sprints all the way to the end zone for what would wind up being the game-winning touchdown. Offensively for the Ravens, the biggest concern is that offensive line. Lamar Jackson in this game was not his usual self. He goes 14 of 25 for 193 yards. 2 interceptions, although both of them did come off tip passes. The pick 6 from Devin Bush, the Browns linebacker, came off of a drop by, I think it was Keaton Mitchell, who tips the ball up into the air and it gets picked off and taken back the other way. The offensive line has been a big problem, and that's what led to this kind of subpar game from Lamar Jackson. The entire line really in this game struggled, but in particular the interior again. We saw players where Daniel Faalele was struggling. The tackles were not blameless in this one. That does sometimes happen going up against someone like Myles Garrett. Ultimately, though, the Ravens were able to do enough. Off the back of the defense, the strength of players like Kyle Hamilton, the pass rush kind of stepping up again for the second straight week in a row, and all of a sudden the team are now 5-5. They host the Jets this week. They then host the Bengals. Real good opportunity to be 7-5 heading into that Steelers game if they continue to just stack one game at a time. Good reminder for anyone, the Jets game this week, there is going to be a nice little get-together from the Scottish Ravens. It will be at the Raven in Glasgow, arrive anytime from 5 p.m. That game against the Jets is going to be on from 6 o'clock. Good chance to get together, watch the game with some friends, cheer on the Ravens, and hopefully see them put up a winning record and get themselves into a good spot down the stretch.